I continue to believe that concerns about Joe Biden's age and abilities pose the single biggest threat to his chances of being reelected next November. And a new Associated Press poll out this week confirms my suspicions. So let's go through a few of the numbers because they're pretty striking. 77% say Biden is too old to be effective for 4 more years, including 69% of Democrats. In a word association tied to Biden, 26% volunteered something related to his age, calling him old or outdated. 15% used words like slow and confused to describe Biden, which honestly seems pretty bad, especially when you consider that Republicans are now, and will continue to, run on the idea that Biden either A, isn't all there, B, won't survive another 4 years, or C, both. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley posted on her X account over the weekend that, quote, a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for President Kamala Harris. And honestly, she's far from the only Republican trying to make Biden's age the central issue of the 2024 campaign. In interview after interview, former President Donald Trump suggests that Biden doesn't know what's going on or is badly out of it. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate. But, you never know. Trump told Tucker Carlson of Biden at one point during an interview last week, and at another point he said this, well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of athlete. Sidebar, because I know you'll wonder. Lots fewer people say Trump is too old for office than say the same for Biden. In that same AP poll I talked about, just 51% said the former president was too old to effectively serve as president. Trump is 77, Biden is 80. Last week, the conservative media lit up over footage that they suggested showed Joe Biden falling asleep while in Hawaii to tour the devastation caused by the fires there. The claim was false. He was looking down for a few seconds. Reuters and a number of other people fact-checked this, but it didn't stop that from moving around conservative media. Then there's this. During a recent interview with MSNBC's Jen Psaki, New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu said that, quote, if you're supporting Donald Trump today, you're effectively handing it to Kamala Harris, potentially down the road. In short, the whispers aren't whispers anymore. And it's only August 2023. Imagine where we're going to be next fall. Biden to date has not really engaged on the age question. His canned response has been to generally laugh it off. As NBC News noted earlier this summer, I'm going to quote from this. In the past 2 weeks, Biden has been cracking jokes about his age more often than usual, according to an NBC News analysis of his remarks. He's dropped some version of the punchline, he's old and he knows it, during events on gun safety and international diplomacy, at campaign fundraisers, and in a speech about abortion rights. The more direct approach, as Biden ramps up his re-election campaign, is a shift from the way he's typically tried to make light of his age, by noting he's been around a long time. That is, of course, strategic, a way to acknowledge the doubts out there about his age while not giving them too much credence. But here's the thing. The AP poll numbers suggest that that strategy just isn't working. People are growing not less concerned with his age, but if anything, more concerned with it. And episodes like Biden's trip over a sandbag left on stage at the Air Force Academy in June really don't help matters. Even Biden's most loyal advocates agree that another fall like that could have devastating consequences for his re-election prospects. Plus, there is other evidence out there that Biden has in fact slowed in recent years. As the New York Times noted in a piece last summer, this is before Biden's fall at the Air Force Academy, and I'm going to quote here, aides acknowledge Mr. Biden looks older than just a few years ago, a political liability that cannot be solved by traditional White House stratagems like staff shakeups or new communications plans. His energy level, while impressive for a man of his age, is not what it was, and some aides quietly watch out for him. He often shuffles when he walks, and aides worry he will trip on a wire. He stumbles over words during public events, and they hold their breath to see if he makes it to the end without a gaffe. Yeah. The problem here is pretty obvious. Biden's age is both the biggest problem voters have with him, and B, something he couldn't change if he wanted to. He can't suddenly change his age, nor can he change the fact that he moves slower and perhaps speaks more haltingly than he did just a few years ago. So what should Biden do? I think he should give a big speech on age and what it means for him and for the public at large. Biden has actually hinted at what the message of such a speech could be. In an interview with CNN's Fareed Zakaria in July, Biden said this about his age and it as an issue for people in the coming presidential race. Here's what he said. I think we're at an inflection point. I think the world is changing, and I think there is one thing that comes with age, if you're being honest about it your whole life, and that is some wisdom. I think we're on the cusp of being able to make significant positive changes in the world. I really, honest to God, do. Yes, To the extent there is a winning way to frame the age issue, that's it. Make it less about the numerical age and more about the wisdom and experience that Biden has gained over his many years in public life, right? Right. Now, that's not going to convince hardcore Republicans that Biden is their guy. But Biden doesn't need to convince them. He needs to rally the Democratic base behind him and pick off just enough independents and swing states to win. So what? The reality is that the age issue is not going away for Joe Biden. He and his advisors need to find a way to more effectively address it than they have to date.